Good morning, everyone. Happy to Slay and welcome to the Rise and Slay Morning Show. My name is Rochelle Slay or Slay Queen Hemingway, CEO and founder of Slay to Success. Come on in, y'all. We've got a great conversation to be had this morning. I already see that Chevy is in the room already. Thank you so much, Queen. Happy to Slay to you. I know you're getting it in, but thank you so much for being here with me live. Okay. So y'all, we're gonna have a great conversation, like I said before. But before we get started, we're gonna start with the word slay. All right, because I like to lay this as a foundation, set the tone, if you will, on what happens when you come into this space. Slay means to kill it, to dominate it, and to nail it, to be on point, to impress greatly, and to dream big and work hard until you own it. All right. So this is for change makers, influencers, trailblazers, those that want to make a meaningful impact in this world. And we are doing it with all those different elements in mind. All right. Now, what is the plan? What is the framework on how you get there? Well, it is a SLAY acronym, which stands for Strategic Identity, Leadership Presence, Aesthetics Authority, and Your Narrative Power. All right. So if you want to think through this, I'll have it on the banner there so you can see. But what I do know, all right, is if you are stepping into a high visibility arena, aka if you're going to be in business, you're going into a new career, you're starting a nonprofit, you want to be the front face of the public, you're in community leadership, you know that visibility is not only necessary, okay, but it's also critical, especially in today's world. All right. Leadership as we know it has been redefined. And if we don't keep up with what's going on, we can be left behind. And so here in Slay Nation, I don't leave anybody behind. I have created a plan. The how to is on the QR scan code, is the Slay to Success experience. I am a speaker, author, consultant, a personal brand strategist, expert, if you will. But more importantly, I'm a United States Air Force veteran, and I spent 3 decades in the military and getting to a point in my career where I was in the decision-making room, the one that led an installation, a military base, one of 3. So I know what it takes to get into those spaces. And I decided to start a business, and it's a consulting business, and it is called Slay to Success. And throughout my experience, I've been in business for a few years now, and I realized that I accelerated success by using this framework. So we're going to talk through the theme today, which is elevating your influence. So let me start here with the question. Are you shaping behavior in the room, or are you simply occupying space in it? Again, are you shaping behavior in the room? And I'm talking about a decision-making room, or, a networking event that is very, very critical and key to your success, because there are people, there are stakeholders in there. You want to make a great impression. You want to be able to share what you do and land right on point. Okay. But we need to make sure that we're just not occupying space. All right. We're just not in the room. We're shaping behavior. So let's just go through this. Okay. I know who I'm talking to. All right. You have built the resume. You have earned the recognition and the accolades. You have decorations. You have plaques on the wall. You have a bunch of framed, what do you call those? Like certificates. You have degrees upon degrees. You have all the receipts. You have proven that you can deliver. All right. But here's the uncomfortable truth that I want to share with you all, and that is visibility doesn't translate into influence. Okay. Visibility doesn't automatically translate into influence. Shaping behaviors. Yes, Queen, with the fireball, because that's what we're doing. All right. We are setting the tone. When we step into a room, all right, we are setting the tone. And anyone that steps to us, asking us questions or whatnot, we're able to hold ourselves upright and share what we do. But sometimes we just go in there and we expect people to automatically respect or give us an opportunity. We can't expect all that. All right. That's why I want to speak to elevating our influence. All right. Most of the accomplished women leaders that I've had an opportunity either to partner with or are in the community or I've seen across different landscapes, not only being in the military, but being in the business arena, and they're still being experienced as present. Okay. They're all present and accounted for. All right. If you were in the military, you know what that means. You know what that language is. That means you're showing up, you're on time, you're saying, hey, I'm here. All right. But not in a powerful way that shifts outcomes. All right. They're just there. But our call is to shift outcomes. So this is a core problem. Okay. We're in these high visibility roles, and I'm talking about executives, founders, federal leaders, military leaders, change makers. There's this huge gap. We are seen, we may be even respected, and we are acknowledged, but we are not shaping behaviors in the room. Okay. Good morning, Leslie. How you doing? Happy Tuesday to you, Queen. Okay, and we got a LinkedIn user. I'm not sure who this is. Please let me know. But good morning to you as well. And thank you so much, ladies, for being here live with me this morning. I really, really appreciate you all. Okay, so let's just break it out into the different categories. Okay, so I like to think that when we're in the room, there are three things that we're showing up in: style, power, and presence. Okay, so let's just break each one of those out. The style. I created my own sense of style. I know what I like and I know what brings attention. I understand what I'm doing. It's very intentional. There is nothing that I'm doing where I'm just like, I'm not quite sure if this is going to fit in the room. I'm always dressed one level higher than the room that I'm stepping in. One level higher. Why? Because I've done the work. I've done the internal work that it takes for me to express myself externally. I'm very comfortable with being the oddball. I'm very comfortable with being different. I'm very comfortable with wearing hot pink. All right. All day, every day. This is what I do. This is part of my personal brand. All right. So I have a plan. I have it all makes sense. If you walk into my closet, y'all, you know, you could see it would make sense. It makes sense. All right. Does your style project what you're trying to do in the spaces that you are going to? Is it in alignment with your ambitions? Because if it's not, let's stop for a second and think about it. Before you go to Amazon, before you go to Macy's, before you go to Marshall's, before you go to TJ Maxx, I know all the places. I want you to stop and think about, am I randomly picking things off the rack and putting them on because, oh, this kind of looks cute. This is kind of like, the vibe. No, we want to make sure these things are being bought intentionally. They are sending a message. All right. And you know the message that it is sending. And if anyone asks you, you can tell them. A lot of people cannot do that. All right. So in Slay Nation, we set the tone. It is very strategic on what we do. Okay, Donnell, my brother in arms, what's going on? Woo-hoo! Happy Tuesday to you. Saluting you as well. Back at you. Thank you so much for being here with my live. And oh, it's Stephanie. Hey, Queen. What's happening? What's going on? I'm so glad that you're here with me live, and just chime in if you hear something that you're like, oh my goodness, I want to put some value to this conversation. Okay, so what we're doing is being the architecture of our perception. All right, and it's really determining how quickly people assign credibility to us. I have created a whole ecosystem, all right? And an ecosystem of network, an ecosystem again of the style, an ecosystem of the authority frameworks. There's an ecosystem going on right now where people can assign credibility to me. Not only did I do my military career experiences, and people can Google, okay, go ahead and Google, all right, and check it out. I'm not trying to brag or boast about it, but I'm just saying I've been very intentional to make sure that when people look me up, it's in alignment. And then when I see them in person, they're like, oh, yeah. I had my back turned, and just minding my own business. And someone taps me on the shoulder and said, I saw you from across the room and I knew exactly who you were. All right. My affectionate name, if you will, is Slay or Slay Queen. Now, if I walked into a room and I am not projecting Slay or Slay Queen, people would be like, I don't believe her. Okay, I don't trust her. She's saying one thing and she looking like another thing. All right. So make sure what you're assigning to yourself is of what you want it to be. And is it producing the credibility that you are looking for? Okay, because I've seen this. We were walking into high stakes meetings, we've done the work, we've prepared the strategy, we know the answer. Okay, but what happens is we are repeating ourselves, we are over explaining, and we get interrupted and reintroduced by others. All right, that's not a good strategy. I don't want anyone ever to be like, so what are you doing? And I go in over and over again and they can't explain it. The main reason why we are intentional is because we want our names to be dropped in rooms that we are not in. So we got to get this right, y'all. All right. So making sure that we're not repeating ourselves, we're not over explaining, and we're not getting interrupted. Okay. I have seen women, and I'm talking to women today, all right, who have cried and got very emotional in high stakes rooms because someone, and usually it's a man, and y'all, I love my men, all right, but usually it's a man over talking, and they shut down and they shrink in themselves instead of controlling and taking up space. They go inward. All right. So I never want to see a woman ever do that in my midst ever again, because I saw it too many times while I was in service. Too many times. All right. So we're not over justifying our expertise. We're not going to be fighting to believe. And we're just going to be received as the authority before we speak twice. Okay. We're being received as an authority before we have to speak over and over again. So either there's a lot of noise or there's stability. Have you ever been in a room where it's very chaotic? All right. And ideas are being thrown here, or people's names are thrown out, or, they're talking and discussing about something. And it just gets louder and louder and louder. I learned that you have to regulate the room if you are the leader. Okay. And every one of us are a leader in our own right, doing whatever it is that we are doing. Presence is not how loud you are, it's how regulated the room becomes because you entered in it. All right. So if you can step into a room and quiet down the noise that may be generated from, a lot of people are in such a way right now. It's very unstable. There's a lot of uncertainty. And so a lot of people's emotions are just going off the rails. And so we have to be the regulators. All right. When we step in the room, we kind of like calm people down. All right. Because I've seen where I've talked to people and I can't even understand what they're talking about. The conversations just speed up and they're just talking 1,000 miles per hour. And I'm like, what is happening in here? Hold yourself. All right. Restrain from telling me all the things. I don't need to know all the things. No one really needs to know all the things. Okay. And, instead of anchoring the environment, we have to absorb the chaos. All right. We want to shift outcomes. That's what I presented at the very beginning. Are you shaping behaviors or are you just occupying space? But when presence is developed, your tone slows down, your clarity reduces decisions or refocuses decisions, your energy reduces tension instead of adding to it. All right. We are not competing with the room. We are stabilizing it. All right. We are not competing with the room. Please don't get caught up in how the room is acting, especially if it's very dysfunctional. Because people like to think, I don't know what it is. They like follow the crowd. Oh, well, everybody's talking, everybody's, loud and all this other stuff. And so here they are. And I'm like, calm down. It's okay. All right. Good morning, Byron. How you doing? Happy to slay. Welcome to the Rise and Slay morning show. And thank you so much for being here. Appreciate it. All right. Power is not force. All right. Please, let's stop forcing things to happen. We don't need that. I'm not, and I tell you, and I have to be very honest with you all. All right. At my age, I'm not trying to force anything. I don't have the energy or the capacity. But I do see some that are trying their best to force conversations, to force decisions, to force approval. And it's really not necessary, especially if you're highly accomplished. All right. So all we're doing really is taking our accomplishments and turning it into influence. All right. But we have to be able to shift outcomes. So when power is embodied correctly, all right, so let's just talk about the power for a little bit. When it is embodied correctly, people bring ideas before you even ask. All right, people align without resistance. People are performing because of your leadership presence, not in spite of it, right? You never want to use your power. And we know, we can see, all right? We can see what's going on out here, all right? We don't have to look hard. People are misusing their power, all right? But here in Slay Nation, we aren't, all right? We're using our power for good. We're not competing with folks. We're not competing with the room. We're not showing up trying to force ourselves inward, all right? We step in confidently, boldly, and authentically, and everything makes sense. All right. We're not fake. We don't carry on like we are somebody when we're not. We are not copying and pasting from everybody else. All right. We have our own unique talents, our own gifts, and we're using them for good. Okay. So Good morning, Marty. How you doing, Queen? Happy to slay. I'm so happy to see you. I hope you're doing well, Queen. All right. Listen, all my sister chiefs, who have came in and went into the military and now retired. They are showing up. How you doing? How you doing? Okay. All right. Hey, Auntie, how you doing? Good morning to you as well. You just saw me and tapped on in. Well, thank you so much for being here with me live. I hope you are doing well too. Okay. So I'm just wanted to come in here quickly. I ain't trying to stay too long, but I did want to make sure that we are shaping behaviors in the room and we're not simply occupying space in it. All right. We're not just occupying space. We are showing up, all right, with all these different elements in mind. First of all, we are making sure that our credibility is not questioned. Okay. It's all about how we design our perception. People either assign credibility to us or not. All right. There is no in betweens. We're walking into high stakes meetings, all right? And we are not over explaining ourselves. We are not fighting to be believed. And we are literally the authorities before we speak twice. Okay, that's one. Secondly, we're showing up with presence, with no noise. Okay, we are very stable. We are regulating the room before we enter into it. Okay, because people are just, I don't know what's going on. All right, it's very, very chaotic. I had this conversation with a woman probably about 2 months ago, and I could not follow her, y'all. I was trying my best, and I could not follow her because it went from one topic to the next topic to the next topic to the next topic without even taking a breath in between. And I know that, sometimes when we get into social spaces, we want to just find somebody to talk to, right? And I understand that. But however, if you cannot ground yourself and you feel like you have to share all the things, there are other outlets. Okay. There are other outlets for you to use. All right. There are people who specialize in that kind of discussions. Okay, because when I couldn't track her, I literally started to feel drained. All right, I felt like the energy was being sucked out of me, and I know that she didn't do it on purpose. Like that's just the way um she is. But I really felt like, okay, you are uh scattered. And I don't want you to feel like you have to tell me all the things, or not even me, whoever else you're talking to. So we are there to stabilize. Okay. We are there to stabilize. And we're going to use our power for good, not forceful. All right. Because power is a behavioral influence. We are given direction. Okay. We are leading meetings. We are being respected. We are not just complying without commitment. All right. We are not there for innovation to stay stagnant. We are fully engaged in the conversations that we're having. And when it's embodied correctly, all right, people will see that and they will come to you, they will ask you for questions, and they'll know what that shift is. And then in the Slay to Success experience that I do one on one, or I go into organizations and I talk through, which is the Slay method, okay, which you have seen on the banner below. The strategic identities where we stop performing leadership and start embodying it. All right. We become intentional about how we are perceived, how we are received, and how we are followed. All right. So then the leadership presence, we are moving from being part of the room to regulating the room because our presence becomes grounding and it's not overwhelming. All right. We don't want to overwhelm folks. All right. And then the A is aesthetics authority. Our image becomes alignment, and it's not just decoration. All right. How you see me show up in here is how you're going to see me show up on in person. All right. But there's something about it. There's a little secret sauce to it. And that's what I help my clients to do. And people recognize your authority before you have to justify it. All right. Because you are consistent and they know the message. They can read between the lines. And then lastly, it's our narrative power, which is the why, your narrative power. We stop being defined by titles alone and start owning the story that gives meaning to your leadership impact. All right. And that's a lot of times people don't know what the story is. And so for me, I'm helping clients to get the story right. And then the modes of communication in which you're going to express that. Do you want to write your book? Do you want to write blogs? Do you want to be on live like this? How does this all happen? Okay. How do you do keynote messaging? How do you prepare presentations? Like I have done all of these things. I've done it so well that sometimes I'll go into a room and I can get 2 or 3 opportunities from stepping into a room. And that is my desired outcome. So what is your desired outcome? Okay. So simply being seen or shaping how people think, decide, and perform because you walked into the room. Because accomplishments, they get you recognized, okay? But influence, y'all, and that's what we are striving for. It gets us remembered, it gets us followed and trusted. Now, this is the evolution. All right, this is the evolution. This is the era in which we are living in right now. Too many times I'm hearing, well, oh, I don't want to do all that. Well, it is the way, okay? Because leadership has evolved. And so you have to evolve with it as well if you're trying to stay relevant in this new era. So we're going from accomplished, which we got all the receipts. Okay, we don't need to share all that. All right, to becoming influential. All right, and that is style, presence, power. And again, this is Slay to Success. Okay. So I want to thank you all for being here live with me this morning. I had Chevy, Leslie, Donnell, Stephanie, Byron, Marty, and Aunt Teresa. Thank you all so much for being here with me live this morning. If you come back and you listen to this later, put in hashtag replay or share your thoughts about today's conversation. For more of these videos, they are all on my YouTube channel, Slay to Success. You can binge watch for hours if you want, okay? But make sure you subscribe so that way you can get notification for any of my future shows. Now, I'll be back here on Sunday evening at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Slay to Success talk show, and I have a Slay amazing guest, and you don't want to miss that. So make sure that you come back for more conversations like this and others that they're going to be dropping gems because all my guests do, and we don't compete with others. Look, I got my little clappy. Okay, we do not compete with others. All right, that's not what we're doing. All right, so thank you so much for being here with me live, and keep on slaying until you can't slay no more. And I'll see you all very soon. Bye-bye.